So um, there's there are a couple of files on Pathwrite that give you some instructions on how to do the assignment. I'm not going to use the PDF that's there because I think that since that was made, some of the way that Blue Letter Bible works is just a little bit different. So I'm just actually going to show it to you live. The assignment for you is to take a look at Habakkuk 2 verse 4 and to look at the way that the Hebrew word that's translated as faith, the way that word is used elsewhere in the Old Testament, and then also to ask, uh, what's Paul doing when he references or quotes this verse then again in the New Testament? Uh, so particularly the word in question there is the one that's translated as faith. What does that mean? What can we take from that? But in order not just to do the exercise for you, we're actually going to just walk through an example from Genesis 1 verse 2, and again just look at some of this functionality on Blue Letter Bible. Probably some of it you're already aware of, and I think we may be even looked at it somewhat last week too. But let me go to my screen here. So the example in particular that we're working with is Genesis 1 verse 2, and asking about the word that's translated as spirit. This is, I believe, one of our vocabulary words too. The word is ruach, and the question is, what's the semantic range for this thing? How do we get a grasp of what's going on? So this is just walking through the steps of how to get there. You'll do the same thing with the Habakkuk passage, but to get there, I'm just going to put Genesis 1 verse 2 into my search box here. I'm going to leave it on King James Version. I mean, you could NASB will also work for this as well, and I'll show you why those two work better for this kind of a search as we go through this. And this is going to pull up my English text from the King James Version. And then, as we've done before with Greek and with some Hebrew too, if we just scroll over tools, then we get our interlinear option. And so now I've got Genesis 1 verse 2 with an interlinear translation, gives me the text of the verse up top here. And then as I scroll down, it gives it to me word by word. And one of the nice things about this, the way it does it, is it always gives you the lexical form of the word too. That can be really helpful when you want to look something up. So, I mean, if you look at the first word there, v'ha'aretz, we haven't really talked about that conjunction vav yet. Hopefully we can get there today a little bit. We'll see. That conjunction, just that vav at the beginning of the word, is the easiest way to translate it is and, but its semantic range is crazy big. And so then, but if it's almost just a word that says we're still talking about the same thing in this sentence as we were in the last sentence. But and then you will recognize we have the direct object marker, our letter hey, and because the noun eretz begins with a guttural consonant, we can't put a dogish in there. And so what we do is we lengthen the vowel from the patach to the comets. So v'ha'aretz. But the thing is, if that was all you knew about the word and you tried to look up v'ha'aretz in a dictionary, you would find nothing. You need the lexical form of it, which it very kindly gives you right there. So if you were going to look it up in any kind of paper or mechanical tool, eretz would be the word that you're looking for. So that's not part of the assignment. I'm just talking about that because it's there in front of me. Okay. Um, the word that we're looking for is the one that is translated as spirit. And so we're just going to keep cruising down here. And we have and the spirit. Um, so here's our word here. The form in the text is veruach, which again means and spirit. Um, and then we have the lexical form, ruach. Now, what makes this search work well on Blue Letter Bible is that here we have as a clickable link our Strong's concordance number. So if we click on that link there, that's going to bring up for us a whole bunch of information. Um, one of the things that jumps out kind of quickly here is if you look on the right side, there's that kind of yellowy, brownish, tannish box that says search results by book. That's kind of interesting, even all on its own. It tells you how many times the word occurs in each book in the Old Testament. Um, we have a transliteration. Now, they've updated their transliteration because if you look at the old instructions for this assignment, it says give us the real transliteration because the transliterations that Blue Letter Bible uses are sometimes different. But here, indeed, we have our our good translation now. And actually, while we're here, our good transliteration. Um, I think that when we were talking about vowels, I think I mentioned this idea that sometimes at the end of a word, you will have the vowel that ends up being pronounced before the consonant. In every other case, the way we have the consonants and the way we have the pointing is that when there's a vowel beneath the consonant, the vowel is pronounced after the consonant. With one exception, when we have a final guttural letter, so guttural being the aleph, ayin, chet, or hey, sometimes you will see the vowel is written to the right side of the letter. Uh, and what that indicates is that that vowel is actually pronounced before the final consonant, which is why we pronounce this as ruach and not rucha. It's ruach. So that's just an example of that. It's called a furtive patach because it just jumps in a little bit early. Okay, so there's that. Now we have an interesting little list here. KJV translation count gives us 378 occurrences of the word ruach. We're not going to look them all up. We're going to take their word for it. But then we also do have a bit of a list of the different ways that it is translated and of the number of occurrences of each of those translations. So spirit, uppercase S, spirit, lowercase s, 232 times, by far the most common translation. Wind, breath, and I mean, those three would be the three most common: spirit, wind, breath. But then what is interesting is you start to see a bunch of other different ways that that the word is translated as well. Here's an outline of the different usages categorized in various ways. Now, if we keep scrolling down, we're going to get Strong's definitions. We're going to get another Hebrew lexicon, the Brown Driver Briggs lexicon. Gesenius' Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. And then, and this is why this works best on Blue Letter Bible anyway, this is why it works best with either King James or the NASB, is because when you get down to this list, and they're going to list all the verses, it will show you the word spirit with the tag from Strong's Concordance. Um, and so then you know exactly which word you're looking at that's been translated from Ruach. If I were to change this to NIV, and now I'm just going to scroll all the way down to the bottom there again. Now you don't get that Strong's Concordance tag. But if you switch to KJV, or I'm just going to go NASB, then when you get down to this list, again, you will see that H7307 number, which tells you in each instance exactly which word is being used to translate Ruach. So I'm not going to go through all of these because that's an awful lot, and because in the end, that isn't exactly what we're after for the assignment. What we're after for the assignment for you is to run through this same exercise with um, Habakkuk 2 verse 4, and chasing down the word that it is translated as faith in that passage. Um, so this is just one way for you to get the information that we're asking for on the assignment. I really don't care if you use Blue Letter Bible or if you use any other website or any other tool that you have. Use whatever you want. This is just one way to get it. Now, um, I do want to show you one other thing as well, kind of as I don't know if I'm making a plug here again um, for Logos, but if any of you have any of you downloaded the free version of it? Okay, so I think I think on the free version, depending on exactly which resources you have available, this is another way that you can do it. Let me just pull my screen up. Here we go. So I'm in my BHS, um, Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. Um, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a search box. So Control Shift S is going to open up a search box for me. And one of the nice things here is if you don't have the Greek or the Hebrew keyboard downloaded onto your computer, the first thing it tells you is that you can type Greek or Hebrew transliterated by starting with a G or an H with a colon after it. So I'm going to go H with a colon, and now my word is ruach. So I'm just going to do super simple transliteration, and it's actually going to fill in the blanks for me. It's going to change this into Hebrew alphabet. I'm going to so R, and then I'm going to go W, and then I'm going to go het. Nope. Where are you? Forget that one because obviously there's no het. Anyway, I see my word in the list here anyway. Um, Here we have ruach. So I'm going to click on that. And the first thing it does is it just pulls up every single instance of that word in the Hebrew text. Now, if I want to, what I can do is I can go add versions, and I'm going to say, you know what, we're going to add the New International Version. And boom, there it gives me all those same passages in the NIV, and it's highlighted the translation. And you can add basically any other resources that you have. And again, I'm not sure exactly what comes with the free version. So, but that's just something that makes it super easy to compare the original language word with the way that it gets translated in various places. So there's that. Uh,
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I mistakenly thought that assignment was due this week, so I turned it in. And I wonder if you might be able to walk through or suggest. I had a hard time going from there to the Greek. And, because
Oh,
Paul didn't write
okay.
it in Hebrew, he was obviously quoting. But I really struggled. I kind of found my way, flailed my
Hmm.
way to
Yeah.
getting
Okay.
there. And I know you once showed us, you can find it in the Septuagint, but it never really mapped out for me. Here's the word ruach, for example. Here's what it is in Greek, and here's how you can find that word in these Greek scriptures.
Okay.
What is there
Yeah.
an easy step for that? Pathway for
So,
that?
um, so when it comes to that assignment, the way that it's written up, for the Habakkuk passage, um,
I mean,
I
we were
think
given
in the
scriptures.
right, yeah, and so basically there it said here are the two places, one in Galatians and one in, is it Romans? I would
Yeah.
expect it to be Romans.
Think so. Yeah.
Um, right. So, um,
But if I'm
hmm,
doing my own study just out of my own natural curiosity and I'm reading, because I know this is going to happen. I'm going to be
yeah,
looking at probably another epistle of Paul's or whatever in the New Testament, and it's going to be quoting something from the Old Testament. How do I go back and
right,
forth, kind of comparing apples to oranges as best I can?
yeah. Okay. Um, so it is kind of difficult with, or it isn't as easy with Blue Letter Bible. You do have to kind of make some guesses and follow the ones that seem to take you in the right direction. Um, with with Logos, what I would do, um, so let me just so do you with your free Logos, you have the Hebrew Old Testament, you have you should have Greek New Testament, yeah. Um, ooh, let me just
What I could do is bring mine up and you can walk it through because I have a free version, so you'll see what the free version does.
oh yeah,
Or,
sure.
Or Stephanie could just bring hers up and share screen.
I
Yeah.
unfortunately can't because I'm on my work
Uh,
computer and I don't have
okay.
Logos
Okay.
Well,
downloaded
why don't
here.
I bring mine up?
Thank
Okay.
you.
So then Ralph, I need to make you co-host, yeah?
I think I just got
Uh,
it. There's mine.
well,
Because you're seeing it, right?
oh yeah, no, there we go. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
So I'll just go back to where do you want me to start? I just sort of started already. And so there's,
Okay.
I did a search in English, spirit. I just went
Mhm.
Control Shift F, and then this came up. I just put an English word spirit, and then it came up all the spirit in the Old Testament because I'd gone to my Lexham Hebrew Bible. Maybe should I start over again?
Um, sure. I wherever you think it would be helpful. I've never used the free version. Um, and unfortunately, at least I think it's unfortunate. They've gone to a subscription based thing. Um, I don't know if that makes it easier or better or worse or not, but it's just different than what it used to be.
Just, dear, somehow.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that free version because it seems a little limited. When I went on, it seemed like it's limited just enough to make you want to get the subscription.
Yeah,
That
same thing.
sounds about right. Yeah.
um, hmm, okay, let me just go back to, I'm not sure how to get out of this search mode here.
Yeah, I did look around on Logos and didn't find anything as helpful as Blue Letter Bible.
Oh, okay.
But
Um,
I also haven't spent a lot of time with Logos because I kind of
yeah.
what Art said.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm just curious. Do you, hmm, you don't, did it come with a Septuagint version
No,
or
you have to
resource
add
on
that
it?
separate. You have to add that separate.
Oh,
I
okay.
have Septuagint, but I added that separately.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So do you know what? I'll see if there's a way. Well, I know there's a way. I just have to figure out how to do it. For me to download the free version, and I'll do a little bit of playing around on it, and then I'll see if I can figure out some good ways to navigate that. Um, yeah, because the question is, how do you go from Hebrew Old Testament to Greek Old Testament and then follow that Greek into the New Testament? Um, that can be that can be a meaningful exercise, which yeah is exactly what we're chasing down um, with that Habakkuk reference.
Yeah, I'll leave it for now.
Yeah. Okay, so for that, yeah, then for that exercise with the Habakkuk passage, once you've traced out all the references in the Old Testament, um, write about a page that would go over the ways that it's used, the different nuances that it can seem to have, and then take a look at what Paul does with that passage in those two verses in the New Testament, and just give us your reflection on. I mean, I think the way it's worded in the instructions are. Do you agree with Paul? Uh, I know very few people who would say I think Paul was totally off his rocker, especially when it's in the Bible. But you know, how does it? Maybe the question is, how does what Paul does with Scripture strike you? What is it that he seems to be doing? Um, yeah. So, um, instructions there are clear enough for us to go on. And I think it says that it asks you to hand it in by Monday before class. Um, I don't think, well, I mean, it would be nice to be able to talk about it at class. So I would say maybe have it in, you can have it in by Wednesday before class. Then that gives me time to look over them and we have stuff to talk about and go over. Um, I think Wednesday before class is plenty soon enough. Um, okay. Any other questions about that?